What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Michelle Hammer. I have schizophrenia, and I've got a great guest here, Sliker-Denicola. She, mentally ill, philanthropist, so many cool stuff, and I wanted to introduce you to her, so that's why she's here today.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Morgan, we had an interesting conversation the first time we met.
Yes.
I remember I said, like, it came up, and I was like, what is your history? And you told me that you're Italian, and then I was like, oh, you're Italian. Are you Northern Italian? And then that kind of brought up an interesting conversation.
Yes. The last name Denicola, I don't scream Italian. So I do make the joke about me being Northern Italian, but I'm actually adopted. So that always seems to throw people a little off when they hear Denicola and then they see this Irish beauty before you.
The Irish beauty. Right. So, like, I mean, well, how did that, turn you into the person that you are now?
It affected you growing up, I guess, because you never really had that blood connection or that relative that you looked at that you saw yourself in, or even your parents. And people always seemed shocked in the 80s when they met somebody that was adopted, as if you were like, that there's some weird energy around you, or they had to tiptoe around you. So I think there was always this disconnect with people that look like you and that whole blood relation. But I think I benefited from it because I learned more about kinships and that family is kind of what you build and really the people that are around you and not so much the blood that is running through your veins.
I remember you told me, I hope this is okay to just blurt it out, that you had BPD. But you told me you deal with it with tea. But I remember you saying that to me because I was like, she doesn't take meds, but she uses tea, and it actually works for her. That's amazing, but I don't think I can handle that. But she does this. Can you explain how that works?
Well, BPD, borderline personality disorder, very similar to bipolar, only like in seconds. Our moods can change. I kind of did it backwards. I feel like a lot of people first tried the holistic approach and diet, exercise, aromatherapies. I went right for the meds because super depressed and super kind of unhinged. So you go right for the big guns, I guess you could say. And then over time I realized maybe I should try normal, everyday behaviors like chamomile teas and aromatherapies and exercise and watching what I ate. Through those little changes and a lot of behavior modification therapy, I was able to get slowly off medications and now do little things for myself that kind of bring me back to a somewhat even keel.
So it really does work for you.
It does.
It really does.
It does. I wouldn't say that there's never times that I'm not incredibly depressed or anxious or a little imbalanced, but I at least have that self-awareness.
I would say that everyone always has those little situations where we're a little unbalanced, you know?
Yeah, I definitely still have those. But sometimes the smallest things, like changes in behaviors, can help you realize what's going on, that it won't last forever, and you just need to kind of get through it.
Well, I would say also myself, I do take medication, but I would say medication plus actual other external reasons and sources and everything like that also helps with dealing with a mental illness, even if you are on meds, no matter what it is. I think it's more than just meds that actually help you deal with your mental illness.
Yeah. A lot more goes into it. There's no just a magic pill.
I know.
And then everything's great.
That's just so frustrating to me. Like, I remember, earlier, like when I was much younger, still dealing with, what med to take. I didn't really know. Things are all up in the air. And people would be like, just take that. And it's like, what do you mean? I can't just take that. Just because you saw a commercial where somebody took a pill and everything then was butterflies all around the commercial doesn't mean that I'll be perfect if I just saw that one pill. And by the way, I took that pill, and you know what happened to me when I did? Yeah. So that's so frustrating when people say that to you. So I wanted to talk about your awesome job, and I know that you say mental health brought you into your job and everything that you do with philanthropy, and you're just so amazing. And I see your Instagram, and I'm like, you're hanging out with Can you like talk about that, because it's so amazing?
I kind of fell into the philanthropic world. I knew I wanted to do more and give back to the people around me and the communities. I wanted my life to just have a little bit more. Figuring out how to deal with my own issues, I learned more perspectives and empathy for everybody around you is going through something. Everybody around you can't always tiptoe with whatever needs you have. And I think through that, I realized that in wanting to make myself better, I wanted to help the world also around me.
So like what are some examples of things that you've done?
I actually just came back from Rwanda. I brought a few members of Congress and their staff there for the 30th commemoration of the Tutsi genocide. I work with an NGO that works with the United Nations embassies and Congress, and the job is to continue to educate members about what is going on around the world, what has happened around the world, and to bring a different perspective and light to decisions they might be making, and kind of continue to just be a bridge, help different communities see how they could help one another and have similarities.
But you've been to Africa a few times, right?
Twice.
Twice?
Africa twice.
Was it both for the Rwanda twice, or was the other trip to Africa?
No, I brought a medical van to an orphanage in Africa.
Oh, wow.
And they serve the local communities around the orphanage, gives them basic medical care, and allows the villagers to see that we're giving back to their communities, not just taking their children away from their communities, but most of the kids, either they have HIV and AIDS, or their parents have died of HIV and AIDS.
Oh my God, that's devastating. But it's great that you're there to like help them through these processes, give them aid, just help them what they need. Can you explain, why did I see a picture of you and Bill Clinton?
That was in Rwanda. We found out Bill Clinton was going to be the U.S. representative in Rwanda for the commemoration.
I'm sure nobody's ever heard of Bill Clinton. He used to be the president, if you didn't know, back in the 90s.
And we found out he was going to be there, and I actually got I work very closely with my father. I run our family foundation, our charity, and
what is it called?
The Denicola Family Foundation. He dared me. It was kind of like, I bet you can't get in front of Bill Clinton. I accepted the challenge. I like a very good challenge. So I had a lot of really cool people help me out. I owe a lot of favors now, but I managed to get in front of Bill Clinton, and he actually like hung out and talked with us for a while, and he was very kind and nice. But yeah, I am lucky enough to randomly meet a lot of really interesting.
That's cool.
Interesting people.
I once met Chuck Schumer.
Yep.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. Very interesting. There are people
not the
too.
same.
There are people
not the same. Not the same.
Kind of. Yeah. Through the embassy's works and Congress, I've met some really cool, interesting people.
Can you name drop some people? I'm curious now.
I don't want to like put the spotlight on them and then I get a text message like, "Are you kidding me? Did you really just do
What,
that?"
have you met Beyonce?
No.
Okay, so that's what I just wanted to know, if you met Beyonce.
I can't.
That would be crazy if you met Beyonce.
I can't say any celebrities at that level, but we give out a humanitarian award at the Super Bowl every year.
Oh, so you've been to the Super Bowl many times?
I know a few football players that
Oh,
are pretty cool.
okay. That's cool. I wouldn't know any of them if you name dropped them, so that's cool.
Well, I got to meet. So you don't know any football players?
I might.
Patrick Mahomes.
No idea.
Okay. Well, he won the Super Bowl.
Well, you go Patrick Mahomes. You met her. I don't know who, but I'm sure.
He was just drafted.
I have this story. I was in Texas. We were in Texas. We were at a conference, and there's a baseball team. So all these people were standing by the elevator looking at this baseball team, and I'm like, why are these people looking at this baseball team? So I had to go in the elevator. So go in the elevator, and the baseball team's in there. I go, what college do you guys play for? Because like, this is a fancy hotel. They go, we're the Diamondbacks, professional baseball. And I go, who? And they were like, the Diamondbacks? I go, I never heard of you guys.
Yeah,
it was the Diamond, and they were like in the World Series at this point, and they were laughing at us because I had never heard of the Diamondbacks. Yet I'm in a squish elevator with all of these guys who probably make millions of dollars, and I had no idea who these people were, and it was the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I did that a few times, and I try to keep a sense of humor. I met a few of the most recent draft class, and the one guy was huge, like giant football player, and I just walked up to him, and I was thinking to myself, he's probably heard everything. So I was like, so do you play tennis? And he just started laughing, and I was like, okay, there we go. Like, you don't want to, I'm sure they're tired of talking about the same stuff that they're known for, and I don't want to, I'd rather throw them a curveball and say something completely and totally random.
That's actually really funny. I like that. Do you play tennis? I'm actually going to start saying ridiculous things. Because, I have my pop-up shop where I'm on the street, and sometimes it gets a little boring on the street, so I like to make weird conversation. So I'll sometimes be like, what are you, 7 feet tall?
Yeah.
Like, things like that.
Or are you ballet?
I'd be like, what do you bench, 300? And they're like...
I think people appreciate that, to just get them out of their normal everyday interactions.
What do you play tennis to a huge football player? What do you play tennis?
Yeah, it got the response I wanted.
That's a good
one.
That's a good one. I like that one. So you also work with the Papal.
Foundation.
Can you tell me more about that? Because I just learned Papal meant Pope.
One of the boards that my father sits on is the Papal Foundation, and so I've been kind of lucky to go with him and experience some of the things that they do, and be a part of that.
Have you met the Pope?
I met the Pope.
Are you allowed to shake the Pope's hand?
If he allows you to.
Okay. If he extends his arm first, then you can shake the Pope's hand.
Being there with the Papal Foundation, he'll meet the members of the Papal Foundation and say thank you for...
What do they discuss? Like, what does the Pope talk about other than...
Well, the Pope doesn't really talk. It's more the cardinals that talk. The Pope, he says hi and thank you, mostly through translation, because he does not speak English.
You know what? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So
wow, look at me being close-minded.
He just kind of shakes your hand, and it was a very cool experience to meet him and talk to his representatives, and also being like, I'm a married lesbian woman.
And you didn't burn when you shook his hand.
No, I think it rubbed off, because after that he came out with another statement being in support of the gays. So I think
you did it.
I think
it was you.
We've reached the pinnacle, guys.
It must have
Yeah.
Oh my God, you are the reason.
I like to think so.
You know what?
That I helped.
I think it was you. I think it was you. I think you're right about that. I think you're actually right about that. So,
but he's actually a really, really nice guy.
I would imagine the Pope is nice.
It's not as abrasive or uncomfortable as you would think it would be.
Were you more nervous around the Pope or Bill Clinton?
I want to say the Pope, but that was more because the shoes that I was wearing were like slippery, and I didn't want to fall in front of the Pope.
Oh.
I think that was...
You know what? I wouldn't want to fall in front of the Pope either.
I just felt like it would be really embarrassing.
Morgan, is there anything else really important that you think that viewers of this video really need to know? Anything on any level of what we discussed? Any one thing you always say to people that they need to know and they should just know it, or where can we find you?
I think my words of wisdom about having any kind of disorder is to remember, one, you're not the only one with a disorder. Everyone around you probably has some disorder. So you don't have to feel uncomfortable or judged, or everybody's really probably only concerned with what they're doing. Letting everybody know, like, we all kind of feel lost, we all feel a little different, we all feel sometimes a little broken, and that's a great unifier. I think holding on to that and remembering that kind of can help you through difficult times. And also, I guess my other big thing to remind people of is personal accountability. I think a lot of people allow their disorders to kind of dictate what they can accomplish, or sometimes can use it as an excuse for certain behaviors, kind of like saying, well, Mercury's in retrograde, I'm gonna be a dick. I think that there's
poor Mercury. I feel like people are always so mean to Mercury.
Right? I'm not saying that there might be some connection to that. I don't know if there is, but I think that also as much as our disabilities or whatever it is that we have to deal with, is difficult for us to work with sometimes, I think it's also on us to be the best versions of ourselves and learn to handle what we're going through and not always allow ourselves to be triggered, like have some personal accountability, and it's on you to make you feel better. So jumping from relationship to relationship, trying to find self-worth or a distraction or self-medicating and things like that, it's not going to help you be your best version of yourself.
I completely agree with that.
But it's worth it in the end.
It is worth it
when
in
you
the
can
end. Take some responsibility.
Yeah.
You know?
And then it doesn't have to be the only thing that like defines you.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes it's you in your own head, and it's not the people around you.
Exactly. Like I do share that when I you know, when you have mental illness, a lot of times you blame the people around you. You think it's them that has a problem, not yourself. So gaining insight into that illness, realizing that it was me that had the issue, that took a while, and a lot of people have to find that point where they gain the insight and realize it's me. It's not everyone else. It's me. I'm the one with the problem. And that's what gaining insight, you know, is. And it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It is not an easy thing to get. It's one of the hardest things to really understand.
Because it's a lot easier to blame the world around you.
It's a lot easier to blame the world around you than to actually have self-insight and realize there's something not right with the way you think and feel.
And the distorted perceptions are really tough.
No one's trying to tell you that you're bad. No one's trying to tell you that you're a horrible person. Yeah. Everyone's trying to help you in some way. But when you're be the best version of yourself. When you kind of feel like, why is everybody in my life treating me this way? You have to then realize it's not everybody else. It's the reaction to how you're acting. Yeah. And when you realize you need to make a change to just be a better person, to realize you need to be a better person, and not because you're a bad person, it's because something's making you feel that way. And it's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. We're not trying to say blame yourself.
There's a big difference between personal accountability and blaming yourself.
Right.
You can be honest with yourself without being nasty to yourself.
So where can we find you, Morgan?
We have the Denicola Family Foundation, so we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and if you want to find me, I'm Morgan Sliker-Denicola. I hyphenated my wife's last name and my last name. I'm currently working on a podcast tour and doing some cool global travel. So,
all right, I'll put all of our information below, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. And see you next time. Peace.